All right.
Hey,
Small
all
day.
right. What's up? What's up, Rob? How you doing? You're not in your pool room.
Well, when you have a pool room that's over a decade old, you got to do some renovations, especially when you're actually doing videos. So that's what's going on right now. But besides that, that's the only thing I know going on in anywhere. Anything going on in crypto these days?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we do have this, we do have this guy, Steve Ehrlich, sitting next to us here. And we do have a big exchange that just went public on the NASDAQ. So I think it's been a busy day. Steve, thank you for joining us, man. How are you?
Some exchange went public today.
That's what I heard.
I heard something about that, but I didn't know it was that big. I thought it was just kind of like a small little thing that was getting out there. I didn't think it was anything too big.
A blip.
It wasn't earth shattering or anything.
Nah, they didn't cover it too much. What I will say in all seriousness about that is I think CNBC spoke more about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency today with the COINBASE listing than they have collectively in the history of CNBC.
You know what's interesting is there was a lot in late 17, but in crypto winter, they couldn't bury it fast enough. And then today they couldn't do enough more. I mean, today encompassed the entire 2018. I can guarantee you that. What they did today was 100% more than what they did for 2018. And, because they buried it when the minute it kind of came off the 19,000 high in December of 17. The minute it came off that, they couldn't run from it fast enough. And then today they wanted to talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Sorry. I was going to say, just wait till they hit the ratings and they go, wow, look at those ratings. Before you know it, it's going to be crypto all day, special segments. We should talk about Doge for 30 minutes. That's what
I know what they're going to do. You know what they can do? They're calling you two guys up and saying, let's do a CNBC show. What the heck?
Well, is it me or when it comes to talking crypto, I'm not going to name any of the hosts on there, but they seem to be uncomfortable, almost like it's new to them, right? They don't know what quite to say, or when they've had Novogratz on the past, they try to get that topic out of the room as quick as possible. I think they're still learning.
I see. I don't think you're wrong there, actually. I think it's they every single time it hits 63 today or so forth. And I think I was watching it near the end of the day and it was at 61 and they're like, have we just had a bubble? Is it like going to crash? It's like 2000. I'm like, when the market goes down, 10, that's 4%, less than 4%. Do we say that the market is all around ready to crash? It's like, no, we kind of just take it in stride. And literally that was the question one of the hosts asked today, like 63 to 61. Is that it? Did we hit a top? It was like, I think it was the other Coinbase founder who was on at that point in time. He's like, I've heard that thousands of times in the last 10 years. We have the top.
He's heard that and Tulip Mania probably about 1 billion times.
Oh, Jesus. With what happened with Coinbase today, the listing, obviously, I did a live stream this morning and over 25,000 people watched it. Like, it's insane. The amount of exposure this has brought cryptocurrency to Main Street is, I think, huge. I think it's one of the biggest steps forward for crypto kind. How do you view this, being a public company CEO yourself, and how bullish is this for you and the industry all over?
Look, I think it's, from our perspective, we think it is just such what did Neil Armstrong say when he stepped on the moon? It's just like that. I mean, I'm not really kidding about it. I think that's what it really means to everything, is that, one small step for man. I always screw that up. But that's what that's I'm gonna have to look on the internet while one of you guys are talking, or you guys are gonna find it. But yeah, I think it's that important. I love to say we were the first public company, crypto broker exchange. Kudos to us. But we're a fraction of the size. We're give or take 1/15 of the size, 1/16 of the size of by market cap of Coinbase. But they were the first movers. They were the biggest guys. They're there. The public wants their stock. It didn't have a great performance day, really, on the stock perspective, because it shot all the way up to 4.25. then came all the way down to 330. Although it was priced at 250, everyone says it had a plus day, but we all kind of thought it was going to go.
It opened up at
a low price.
380. Let's
I mean,
yeah.
So, but I think it's just such a huge step for the crypto industry, because all of us who've been banging the drum for years about crypto and about it going to change the way the world is, this was a major step in making that actually happen. That's how big I think it actually is.
That's cool. Exciting times. Rob,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, no, I was going to say, but I mean, by far, this is just one more step to where we finally get to mass adoption. I mean, look, Voyager, publicly traded company, right? Publicly traded brokerage. Now we've got Coinbase. I mean, what's next? ETF? Who knows? But I know that things are going in the right direction, especially with the SEC confirming Gary Gensler. So, I mean, look, if we're looking for regulation and things just moving in the right place, this is the time.
Yeah, it's the beginning, right? I mean, it's the beginning of change. And I think that's the important aspect. It's change comes, and when change starts to come, there's volatility in change. And this is the beginning of all that change. All the stuff we've been talking about for years now, really came into the forefront. And I think, Alex, when you said it, like Coinbase, CNBC, talking about it more than they have for all the eternity up to today, that makes it put it at a whole nother level, that people who probably maybe had their head in the sand and hadn't heard about Bitcoin or crypto, they're getting it now. And there's going to be much more. I guarantee you the Google searches on crypto and Bitcoin have gone up substantially in the last 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure trading rooms around the world with even traditional traders who would never make that leap or thought of it at all as, not paying attention are now like, wow, this is a big deal. Because not only was it it was dramatic in the fact that it was a crypto company, a crypto exchange going public on NASDAQ, it's also one of the most prolific size-wise listings in a while that we've seen.
I thought I heard them say it was the largest direct listing ever done on an exchange, whether NASDAQ or NYSE. And definitely one of the biggest, just flat out, pseudo IPOs or listings, initial listings done on either exchange. It was that massive.
Yeah.
By the way, the quote is, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." So that's what, we needed Neil Armstrong to be spouting that today.
Well, you're the one with the spaceships.
I'm going to get this to the marketing team. I think it's a pretty important day.
I think it really is. I think it is important. Let me get your professional opinion on this. How fast do you, or slow, I guess, do you think Jesse Powell's running to file an S1 for Kraken?
Knowing how difficult it is to be a public company, knowing what the accounting standards are for crypto, that there basically are none. And so you try to take crypto. We've been doing this for a while. You try to take crypto. There's these things called general accounting standards, right? General principles. And none of the rules talk about crypto. Crypto doesn't get defined as a security. It doesn't really get defined as a commodity. So you have to there's a whole bunch of work that has to get done by auditors in preparing financial statements, because you might have the greatest S1 around when you talk about risks and all that. But at the end of the day, you need the financial statements to match that, and they have to be audited, signed off, all within general accounting auditing, principles and standards. I'm sure they're working on it. I just think it's a lot of work. I know what we did, and we did ours from the beginning. Like we didn't have a business, then so we started that way. So a little bit easier for us. But I would venture, look, the way Coinbase performed today, I think those guys will, I'm not sure they rush, let the market kind of feel this stuff out and find where the right place is for it, because Coinbase wound up at what, a 75 billion market cap or so, and not where everyone thought it would be.
No. Some analysts had pegged 200 plus billion for market cap. So I think it fell far short of many expectations. And I think the likes of, some others are smiling, going, "I told you so." But
yeah, but
we'll see.
No,
go ahead, Rob.
No,
go
ahead. Say, and I mean, in all honesty, I mean, the whole number was 250, and then they were talking about 50 to $100 billion. And then we ended up, hitting out, well, I think we topped out at 420 today, dropped down to 380, then 330. So all in all, I mean, for everything, I thought it was going to be just like Alex, you talked about the Facebook IPO. You see a big boop, and then
well, it kind of did. I don't want to say that out loud too much, but it kind of did. And trust me, in full disclosure, I own a position in Coin that is priced right after the open. I'm not too happy right now.
Yeah.
Think about where it was trading on the private market, the NASDAQ private market, before it just went public. It was at a 95 million market cap. So I'll tell you what, if I was one of the employees, and remember, the direct listing comes out of all the investors. There wasn't new shares created.
No new shares.
Right.
No new shares. So it was people selling it. Man, if I was one of those, people who wanted to sell, you held out from private to public. You thought the public was going to give it a boost, and wow, you're like, geez, I'm trading down 22% from where it was effectively in the private markets. Now that said, I did some research leading up to this, and there was a whole bunch of articles about most direct listings wind up performing worse on the first day than anticipated. So we're all reacting to day one. The only time will tell, and about how strong their business is strong. Crypto businesses are strong because unlike some of the fintech SPACs that make no money and have zero profitability, our businesses make money.
And it's going to be an interesting trend. I'm going to share something real quick here. So here's an interesting trend that's been happening since very early pre-market hours. Now, you obviously have COINBASE here, and you see where it popped up, and you see where it's trading after hours, about 334. But it was a common denominator across all Bitcoin exposed stocks, Riot, yourself, Voyager, Bit Digital. And if you look at, Bitcoin, it unfortunately hit a TD Cell 9 right before this morning's open and went down. And then you look at the market as a broad, it's all bearish, all the red on the short term. So it's unfortunate that they had a listing day on that type of day, but it is what it is.
Or could you say that the Coinbase listing dragged the rest of the market down, right? Like, it wasn't like the market itself was down. Maybe the Coinbase listing didn't have the initial demand we all thought, so it dragged the rest of the market down, right? I mean, including the coins.
Yeah. No.
I'm looking at the same chart as you: Marathon, Riot, Silvergate, Galaxy, Hive, Hut, Mogo, Big, all these companies that are public companies, all down double digits.
Yeah, and that's what we saw when we were talking about that, because we said, it's pretty amazing that, like, you even saw a dip in the cryptocurrency market, and then you saw MicroStrategy take a dip, and and then Voyager took a dip, and everybody else, and then so what are they doing? They said, well, there might be a big play over here, and not so much.
All right. What's going on with you guys? What's happening your walls? I know you're probably working like 7 days a week, man. By the way, you look great. I don't know if that's a combination of working so hard or if you've taken up track in the mornings.
It's clearly, it's two things. One is I do get out for long walks when I can, 4 or 5 mile walks, because you just have to kind of free your brain up a little bit, listen to some tunes and podcasts and stuff. So if anyone has any really cool podcasts, send them my way, because I'm always open to hear some new good stuff. And it's the lack of eating, because we're 24/7, 365, upgrading the systems, which we've talked about. There's so much stuff going on in what we're trying to do. You guys, we've talked about it. Like, I had that little great tweet with some customer, or I thought he was a customer yesterday or 2 days ago, where his $10,000 never really cleared the bank, and he wanted to take out the Bitcoin he thought he owned. He put 10,000 in, had 10,000 as an account when he put it in. When the bank went to give it to us, it was gone. So the Bitcoin went up, 60%, and he came back and said, "I want my Bitcoin." I was like, "Well, you never paid for it." He's like, well, I did, I don't have to pay for it. I was like, no, you have to pay for it. Thank you for giving me my coin back. So dealing with a lot of that and making sure we upgrade all our systems related to that stuff, and the AI and stuff that our CISO has put in for us is off the charts now, which has been great for us. Just takes time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Steve, that is the big thing right now, right? Because I remember in the beginning, you guys had a big rush, especially with the whole GameStop situation. You had millions of people coming in, and then all of a sudden it kind of tapered off, and now we're seeing more of a flood. So this is what I'm hearing from you. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're seeing a heck of a lot more fraud coming in, and because of the more fraud that is coming in, you have to increase your security. And because of that type of thing, we are looking at slowdowns. But I want to ask you right now, because of all this fraud that is happening, because you guys have taken such strict type of requirements, how safe is everything?
Oh, so let's go back and touch on a few different points here, unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Our growth has still been off the charts.
Right.
Completely off the charts. We're preventing fraud. We're not having fraud. Two different things, right? We're preventing fraud. We scan the web. We're in the dark web. We're all over the place. And so everything we do is about the safety and sanctity of customer funds. So I read a lot of crap on Twitter, liquidity issues. No, all that stuff. It's just not there. It's like, we're keeping customers' funds safe because we know, not just us, but we have industry roundtables that we know, we all talk to each other. All of us have been in this industry long enough. So we're sharing information with each other about things that are going on, and you're always upgrading your systems. And sometimes there's going to be delays when you do that. And remember, when we had the problems at the end of January, I told you guys it was going to take probably close to 120 days to scale up and put a lot of things in place. We're about day 75 out of that. Oh, 75 out of 120 days. So we're getting there. And when, but I said that way back at the end of January, it was going to take 120 days.
So we're within your game plan.
It was, I said that it was gonna, and that's what we're doing. I mean, and look, I think that it's important to note that we sent this email out yesterday about deposits to give people clarity on what goes on there. We did shut off a whole bunch of banks that, so the whole bunch of banks that are related to, that don't have the same process and procedures as we do when it comes to fraud. And we take that super seriously. Fraud, KYC.
Has that slowed some of the stuff down, you think?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, because if I asked every customer what's the most important thing for them, I can guarantee you the number one answer that they will say is the safety and security of my assets. I have customers who ask to turn off withdrawals to make their limit zero. They're like, I don't want my funds to go out the door in any way. So if they get hacked, they get SIM swapped, no matter what, that money does not go out the door. So if safety and security is the number one thing for customers, that's our number one focus that we have to deliver. And when we're scaling the systems and we're getting to be the size we are with the notoriety we are, we must keep increasing our safety and security provisions. And that's what we're doing. Like I said it would take about 120 days. We're still well within that 120 days to make sure we meet those requirements of keeping everything safe and secure.
So this is basically, where you are in that 120-day scaling plan, you're at the part with addressing AML, KYC, fraud protection, all that stuff. So as you go through those service and resource implementations, you're doing a lot of stuff manual, you're reviewing, you're making sure everything's secure. And so if anybody raises their hand and jumps up and down and says, oh, my withdrawals are taking this, that's because we are actually going through this plan now and taking extra time to scrutinize it while we put in a new system.
You got it. I mean, that's the game plan, because number one priority, safety and security of customers' assets. Nothing more important. And by doing some of the things I did, going on the wait list for a little bit, we have to measure the growth there. So I probably could have left it open and taken even more accounts in. And the wait list is huge. But what we did it was to make sure that the existing customers had the most safe and secure platform on the market. And that's what we've been trying to do. Keep building upon our safety and security.
And so, okay, so that efficiency is going to speed up as this implementation process goes on. Question: you guys are through the wait list. You completed that some time back. Now, with this new, as you go through this transition of upgrading fraud and AML KYC, would this slow down some of the incoming accounts as well? Because whether it's banks or whatnot.
Yeah, look, I think the changes we have made, there's still some people we've got to get off the wait list, which we're working on, because we went back on the wait list around March 26, 27. So we're working to get all those people off the wait list. But everything we're doing is really, we've slowed that down, and we're back open and we're bringing people off the wait list. We saw an unbelievable trading day today, as you can imagine. It's tons of new accounts, all that stuff. But it's all about, again, just scaling the system, new AML, new KYC. There's new rules that have come in place. As we get closer to New York, and getting that, there's more things that New York wants us to do that other states have to do. So we got to put them in place to satisfy. So all these things are happening. And I know people get pissed. Trust me, they're getting pissed.
Look at the comment section in our videos.
Yeah, I'm getting F-bombs into my own direct messages on Twitter, left and right. They call me every name under the sun. And by the way, if you're listening and you send me that stuff, it's nothing my wife hasn't said to me. So it's so you're not really pissing me off. So we're doing everything for the benefit of the customer. And they may not like it, and we may get yelled at, but that's exactly what we're doing.
And then my last question, and this has to do with a tweet that came out yesterday. I remember I was filming an episode of Trade Chain, and all of a sudden there was a tweet about an audit completed. Now, would this happen to be involved in any of those external hurdles you needed to cross, such as whether it's jurisdictions or whether it's token swap or any of that stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about in a token swap.
That's my last setup, by the way. No more.
Bashing us or bashing me on the chat room right now is just like, he's an asshole for even laughing about that. I can guarantee you.
100%.
Yeah, guarantee you. But I told you guys that too. I came on one of your, if not both you guys shows, and I said, there's third-party dependencies. I don't control the token to the point where, from start to finish. I do not. There's third-party dependencies. QuantStamp was one of those dependencies. They got the security audit done, so everybody should feel great. That's a major step. And now we've got a couple other things that we're working as fast as we can with third parties to get it ready to go, including exchanges.
All right. So,
but I promised you guys that, like I said, there was third-party dependencies, and no, I'm not sure everybody kind of believed me, but I'm glad it's, QuantStamp sent that out, and we didn't even know they were going to send it out, and caught us by surprise.
Did they tweet that without giving you a heads up, by the way?
Yeah. They did.
It's a pretty nice tweet, though. It's a pretty nice tweet to get, right, Steve? Like, hey,
yeah,
I told you
guys. It wasn't bad. The first version, I think, was wrong, but then they corrected it. But yeah, but that's okay. Hey, they're happy. They did some great work, and we're excited, and we're great that they did it. And we passed, and we went through their audit, and we're super excited. They're great partners to work with. But they surprised us, which is okay. It was a good surprise. If it was a bad surprise, it'd be something different. It was a good surprise.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but I said third-party dependencies, and that was one of them.
Yeah, growing pains, right?
Yeah,
growing pains. Okay, Steve, real quick. Alex, you got anything else?
I'm good. I'm going to let you finish this up and maybe talk about the Eagles.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'll hit that at the very end. So just some rapid fire questions, and I want to make this as simple as possible. The wait list, versus what's going on. Because I know some people have emailed me or they sent me messages like, hey, I've been on the wait list for 7-8 months. This happened to my brother-in-law. And I go, hey, it's not that you're on the wait list. Check to make sure that's not a KYC or AML. He's like, oh yeah, it was because the ID that I put in was a different address than where I'm at now. And now there's something going on. So if you are listening right now and it's not, and you're not like, I've been on the wait list for 10 months or whatever else, make sure it's on a KYC AML type of thing. So
that's a great point. That's
yeah.
a great point, Rob. And thank you for bringing that up. There's still a wait list from March 26th that we're getting people off that. But if you're telling me you've been on the wait list from before March 26th, you probably failed KYC. And if you fail KYC, you have to go to a whole manual process. And the manual process, when you're taking in 1 million users, think about it like this: 1 million users came through our platform that we have right now. And if, say, 200,000 of them have to go through a manual review, it's going to take some time to do it. You know, the only way to do a manual review is exactly what that word says, manual.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So I stress to people, because the most common mistakes people make when they're doing their account setup, they spell their email wrong. Instead of saying like abc@yahoo.com, they say .con. Make sure you spell your email right. Don't fat finger your social security number.
It's so
all
true.
the time.
And we have the same problem. And then I feel bad when members sign up. I'm like, I can't communicate back to you that you did this wrong.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for you to yell at me.
Yeah, it happens to me too. And in my online business, they're like, hey, I never got anything. This is a scam. I'm like, wait, let me take a look. .con, you know, thing like that. So yeah, it makes sense.
Well, on socials, if you put in the wrong social number, which happens all the time, like say your last 4 digits are 1234 and you type in 1235, you're going to fail KYC.
Okay.
You cannot pass KYC with the wrong social security number. There's not a bank in this world that will pass you, a real bank, and that's what I'm saying, real bank, that will pass you through KYC with a fake social security number. So when you take your time, I know we say you can get through 3 minutes or less. You could probably do it in a minute and do it wrong. Take your time, answer the questions, put the information in that is accurate. Don't leave out, you know, if you live on Avenue of Americas, write Avenue of the Americas. If you know, write out and make sure you got it, make sure your zip code's right. Because if you fail KYC, you're with a couple of 100,000 people and it's a manual review. A person actually has to physically get information from you. We take it, we then have to match it up. It's a manual review. You can assume you can't get that many done in each hour on a manual review. So I stress to people, do it right the first time.
Gotcha. Yeah, everybody do it right. And then is it available in New York? I forget.
Not yet.
Okay, so someone in the comments said, hey, I've been approved. It's because he lives in New York. That's why.
And let's you know, one good thing to do is bullet point. I'm not speaking for Steve, so if I get it wrong, slap me. But just for everybody out there watching, what we've already spoken about, because people keep asking the whole questions again, is one, when it comes to token swap, I know he was on the show in mid-March and he was talking approximately 6 weeks, and that was a timeline that he was thinking of for third parties. It was relying on third parties. He got VGX, Voyager got the Bitstamp. The securities audit finished, which was a large third-party hurdle that they needed. That was announced yesterday on Twitter. From there, I am speculating that Steve and the team are now talking to exchanges and other things and working towards that token swap, which will happen when they announce it. But it looks sooner than later now that a security audit is here. Canada, New York, those are probably based on partially security audits. So again, we're past a big hurdle. You guys talk about Europe. I get a lot of questions about Europe. That has to do with another company that they acquired and an independent process of going through European regulation with that company. I'm sure some of that had to do with the security audit too, but it also has a lot of other stuff added. When it comes to withdrawals, nothing. I'm getting more and more DMs and emails about withdrawals. Right. Let me tell you something. One is, I'm pretty sure Steve wants as many customers in the door trading on Voyager as possible. So if there's a wait list, it's because there's a reason. He just mentioned there is. If you have delays in withdrawals or ACHs coming out of your bank account, he already went through. They are tightening up the ship with the AML KYC process. There's a lot more manual looks that are being had. The delay is not because he's keeping your money or they're not taking your money out of your bank account. They're processing their compliance manually as they transition to a more efficient process as part of their 120-day plan.
Yeah. But
if anybody has something, I'm going to just comment. Watch the video from the beginning, please.
And then lastly,
go ahead, Rob. No, go ahead.
And then lastly, I will say this: if you're having problems with withdrawals and deposits, I know it's frustrating because even I went through the same thing for over 2 weeks. I had to go through customer support and I had to go through the same type of rigmarole and hoops, and it sucks. I know it does, but I will tell you this: for someone who has personally lost 20,000 ADA for my own stupidity, I might add, I would rather take a little bit of time than to have something get FUBAR'd where I am losing a ton of cryptocurrency. So a little bit safety. I'm okay with that. And then Steve, go ahead, because I just have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah, no. I think that's we've prioritized for our support. We've prioritized making sure we get withdrawals out the door. There's a lot of manual work related to that to ensure the safety and security of customers. And we've prioritized, I know the other things people say that a lot of people, they forget they're on SMS or they on 2FA. And by the way, everybody should be on 2FA. SMS is just not secure enough. And I actually recommend 2 phones for 2FA. Keep your regular phone for your stuff and get a second phone for your 2FA. Because, you get, it's a much more secure process. Let's leave it at that. And what's his name? Scott Melker's the one that turned me on to that. About
I was going to say, Wolf of Wall Street talked about that. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Okay.
Yep, Scott turned me on to it. So credit to Scott. So that, we prioritize withdrawals. We're working through every single one.
Right. And then there's something going on with spammers and scammers, because even in my comment section, I get a ton. And then there's something going on in Twitter where like I will answer a question and then we'll go back and forth. And all of a sudden, like you said, Twitter's been deleted. And I'm like, so I don't know what it is, but it seems like, first of all, I'm not that bright on all things. And especially like with scamming, I think the scammers are way smarter than me. Have you seen something like that? Have you guys talked about with your team?
I've seen at least 20 different times where people reach out to me on Twitter, DM, or I see some of their tweets in the chains. And I go back and I'm like, I send them a direct message, say, hey, give me your email. What's your problem? I'll look up on your account. So they give me the email. I go look at the account and I'm like, wait a second, you didn't do this, your deposit never cleared. Boom. The Twitter account is deleted. And so I would just caution people that, there are boatloads of scammers out there. They're trying to create noise in the marketplace. And then then you get people on Twitter saying, hey, I could help you. I'll help you get your account fixed at Voyager or any of the other crypto brokers. Do not give any information to people over Twitter unless you see the blue check and somebody's verified and they are who they are. And most of the time, I don't even like asking people for any of their information, either in DMs, because it should give people pause. You should never give that stuff out on Twitter. Go through the support systems. I know it's not perfect. I know it's going to take some time, but it's safety and security because the scammers are out there. I've heard social scams where I've had people. I'll give you guys a funny one. I had someone sent us a message that said, "Hey, can you help me here? I think I might have gotten scammed." And we're like, "Okay, what happened?" And this was over our help desk, the email. Well, some girl said if I send her half a Bitcoin, she'll be my girlfriend.
That sounds legit.
Well,
That's still
That- that-
happening?
that-
it still happens. And by the way, I said I'm not so sure that's called a girlfriend. So the
That's called the bell curve.
that's what I'm telling you, just you know, financial services, online financial services have more people trying to attack it from every which end possible. And it's not Voyager, it's every single name you can under the sun. We all know each other. We all talk. So we're all trying to be careful about people's money. And I appreciate people being, the withdrawals taking time and all that. We're protecting your money. We really are.
Yeah.
You know what's, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just going to say, listen, Rob and I have said this from the beginning. We believe in people, products, and community. And, I'm looking in the live chat here. I see Amateo going back with people. Yeah, I mean, the team's solid. Let me ask you one quick question before I hand it back over to Rob. So rather than hitting the CEO up and expecting a 2-second response back, in short order, what is the best way for people to who have gripes or issues to contact Voyager?
Here's another one.
And please don't say DM you, man. You don't have enough time.
No. I don't have the bandwidth, and I try to help people where I can. But I would say that the best way to do it is go on the app, go to the support section, fill out a ticket. And the other thing people don't do, they don't properly fill out a ticket and give us, there's headings. Do the drop down. Choose the correct heading of the issue you're dealing with. Because if you're going to give us a support ticket and just put garbage in there and say, I'm having a problem with my account and it's other, there's not much my support team can do to help you. If you do the right, it's like, now what do we have to? Now we have to then send you an email back and say, what is your issue? Okay, now then, so there's drop downs and they're there for a reason, because we're mapping them back so we know what the issues are. And those who don't want to do the proper drop downs are going to fall behind in the food chain of getting service. It's just not possible for us to deal with all the tickets if you're not helping yourself. Help yourself. Give us the right information, and it makes my team and they're great. And we've grown our team from like 25 employees now to probably over 100 by the end of April. So the team's growing so fast, but they can't help people unless they help themselves.
But this is what I think people fail to understand. So it's April 14th right now. And we went through the clog at the front door of Voyager the end of January. Okay, that is 60, 70, 75 days ago, let's say. Okay, when you go apply for a job at a company, that hiring process in the corporate world usually goes, what do we say, anywhere from 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So you have to scale up. And now we're talking about integration systems and stuff. So we've gone the distance of 8.5 weeks. And people think the company should be fully occupied and everything should be all set in 8.5 weeks, with no idea of runway on how you get these things in place. So I give you credit for working hard. I give you credit for wearing a tracksuit because you're probably sweating a lot and answering the question.
I got, the one advantage of my position is I do get people who have sent me some great Voyager clothing. So
Nice.
I've got a whole wardrobe now of Voyager.
Of one-offs.
Of all one-offs. So I might NFT these because they're separate. They're separate and distinct. They're valuable. Each one of them should be its own NFT at this point.
That is true. Perfect. And then Steve, the last thing I want to follow up with was there was two things. You talked about how some people call up and say, hey, shut it all down. No more withdrawals. That's an option that I've seen in Celsius called HODL mode. Is that available now in Voyager, or is it something that could be available in the future?
Yeah, look, I said that to you, is we do get customers that email us and send us a support ticket that says, make my withdrawal limit 0, because I want nothing to come out of my account ever. Because that way, if I get hacked, if they personally, the individual gets hacked, not us, the individual gets hacked because, they're afraid of, look, you take your cell phone to a public Wi-Fi, you open yourself up for exposure. If you get hacked, they want nothing to go out the door. And so they say, put me at 0. And we will absolutely do that for any customer that asks.
Oh, so you do manual withdrawals?
We will, yeah, we will. I mean, they take time, right? Like, so if you want a manual withdrawal, it takes time. So, but most people want the safety and security over the manual, and they're happy to take the time. So if someone has, a $25,000 account and they say put it to 0, and then they need to pull 10,000 out, they'll send a ticket. It might take some days. It might take a week. It might take 2, but they're happy with that because they know their coins are safe.
Yeah,
an extra level of safety, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I mean, it's a bummer that not only do you have to fight these the scams, the frauds, but it sounds like you also have to do a little bit of infighting with some of the banks. So it's like you're getting attacked from both sides almost, and now you got to deal with the lead support time. So I think everything's just getting slowed down. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and it's you get banking issues because they're banks that just don't put they don't make the same priority as we do in the crypto world for safety and security of assets because they're banks and they tend to be micro banks. So they don't have the same safety and security. You're fighting with your competition all the time, right? Like in its own sort of way, it's friendly competition because again, we all know each other. We round table, we talk about issues facing the industry. So we have that. Then you have the fraudsters that are always trying to get in everybody's system, and then you're trying to scale the business at the same time. So it's a 24/7, 365 job. So when you said, I lost weight, I don't know if I lost weight because it's the lack of eating or lack of sleep. I don't know. One of the two.
Probably both.
All right, let's switch over to football. What are your thoughts on football for the Super Bowl next year?
For the Super Bowl next year, I can tell you one team that won't be there. It'll be the Beagles.
The Beagles, I love it. I knew you were going to give me crap.
We got the draft coming up, right? I mean, a big day in for a lot of late teenagers, 20-year-olds. Big day for all of us NFL fans. You know me, I'm a diehard Giant fan. I always think my Giants can get to the Super Bowl, except for last couple of years, the Super Bowl dreams were over after game 1.
Well, hopefully we go watch football games again, with everything going on. Hopefully the world eases up. I got to tell you, Steve, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the first drink, on a rooftop. Seriously, it's been, you remember the football draft last year, everybody doing it remote. And I'm waiting for life changes here.
It's coming.
It's truly coming. And look, I think I think we're getting closer, right? I think the J&J news wasn't helpful yesterday.
Yeah, blood clots.
But I think we're getting closer and closer. I'm starting to get back on the road personally. I will be traveling to Florida in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're going to see you down at first week of June for Bitcoin 2021.
We will be there. We're partnered with our buddies at Market Rebellion, putting a booth together and doing some cool stuff there. Dirk and the team, we're so excited to do that. Meeting some of our customers down in Florida in a couple of weeks as well. Met some customers about a week and a half ago at a deli. I got to know some other customers. I'm really excited about that.
I saw that tweet. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like doing that. It's hard. And the last year took away from that, but it was something we did a lot at E-Trade. We went on the road and we met customers and I can't wait till I can stop by El Paso or so forth. And
we're going to have to have you down in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico now, Steve. Puerto Rico now, Steve.
So I'm excited to get back on the road and meet and chat with people, all things crypto.
Well, awesome. Very cool. And listen, as always, my friend, I appreciate you coming on and, going over things and talking market and Coinbase and Voyager. For everybody who's watching who didn't start at the beginning, let me just tell you, rewatch the video. Steve goes through a lot of important stuff and we highlight a lot of important stuff. So don't ask questions if you're not going to take time to watch the video. Steve, thank you as always, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on. Love what you guys are doing continuously, and you have all of our support.
No, I appreciate both you guys and everything you guys do with us and the support we get from you guys and all the community who still probably beat the shit out of me on the chat room. But, you know, I love them all anyway. So it's, you know, we're trying to do our best. We love our customers. Everything we're trying to do is for them. And you guys really help us, you know, support us. So I really appreciate that. We all do at Voyager from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.